my 6. What's up, everybody? Have you missed that? Have you missed these woods? So have I. And my gut's telling me right now we're not alone. So you watch for movement back here. I know you've missed it. It's been, more than a week since I've been out here. Been busy. I was showing you my gloves. If my fingers came up in any sort of inappropriate fashion, it wasn't intentional. Unless I don't like you, then potentially it was. Okay, so this message is it's timely, and there's probably no better time than now for it to be delivered. We know, I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, that Russia has invaded the Ukraine. Things are not looking so pretty. A lot of folks, you know, you're hearing talk about energy prices spiking, food prices spiking, the prices of everything spiking, potential cyber attacks. How long will this be drawn out? Will American and allied forces be drawn into it, etc.? Should we be preparing? What can we do? Should we start prepping? Should we start, stockpiling gasoline or food? Or should we start growing our own food? You know, it happens to be coming on spring here right now as all this stuff's going down. Is that some sort of sign that we need to get out there and get to planting potatoes and corn and beans and all these things? Well, I'm going to tell you my take on it. But first, I'm going to show you just a very quick clip of something I did today to help me with this situation, all these terrible things that are taking place right now in Europe. Have a look. Okay, just a quick update on the Hillbilly garden here. If you've been following along, you know yesterday or day before we planted some lettuce here. Well, today we have gotten around to one of my favorites, potatoes. Upon the advice of viewers like you in the comment section who suggested we use this old entertainment center here that we took the back off of, or something off of, drawers out of. We filled with soil. This is the kind of potatoes we're using. Red Norland. We got our seed potatoes. I know most of you folks watching this already know how to do this, but just in case you don't, you're going to go about 6 inches apart in rows about 8 inches apart. Go down 6 inches deep. And when you cut your seed potatoes, make sure you got 1 or 2 eyes on each cut piece. Put it cut down. As you see here, there's 1 eye, 2 eyes. Just cutting them in half pretty much. Put them down there. And then we're going to cover them with soil. And this might not come out exact as I'm recording this because I'm doing it one-handed. But after I stop recording, I'll make sure they're hilled up a little bit. Trying to get 2 crops of potatoes this year by planting here in late February. Pretty much with potatoes, if you can work the soil, if it's thawed out enough and you can work the soil, you can go ahead and plant your potatoes. And of course, some, could be famous last words. The frost could get them, but I don't think so. But if we get this early crop, because we planted so early, then we're going to plant another crop around 1st of June, get a second crop. So there you have it. Here is your Hillbilly garden update for the day. All right. So with all that said, and then that little clip shown there, and by the way, I didn't mention this in the video. The producers said we only had 2 minutes for that clip, and that was exactly 2 minutes, so they cut me off. But they said I can talk as long as I want afterwards. But you probably saw laying there on the cardboard, the looked like straw or hay with a bunch of chicken feathers in it. I actually put that over top of those potatoes after I buried the rows. The reason why is because even if you do plant early to try to get 2 crops out of the year like we're doing, you want to give the potatoes or even the hardy green leafy vegetables that are cold weather hardy give them a little bit of protection from the cold weather. There's still a lot of cold nights coming, and our last frost. I heard a tree knock back there. But our last frost is typically mid-April. So that will help insulate the soil, keep the temperature higher, give you a better chance of having success. But now, you see that and you're probably saying, oh no, we all better go plant our gardens. Remember they had the war gardens and the peace gardens and the whatnot during World War II. Is that why I'm doing this? No, absolutely not. Is it because I'm starting to prep and stockpile gasoline and stockpile food and grow my own stuff and am I digging a bunker? Absolutely not. Will I? This is coming from right back here. That was the second tree knock. I know that when you hear things through the phone, it's hard to identify direction because you can't you can see with your eyes, but it's like right back here. Watch for movement. Something might be sneaking up on me. So anyway, listen, I learned early, well, not that early, it took me 40 years to learn, really, earlier, I guess. There are so many things in this world that are terrible, that are tragic, but which are completely out of our control. And we can pray for the folks affected, we can hope for the best, but if we stay glued to our television screens, if we stay glued to our phones to see what the latest breaking news is on any situation, all we stand to do is degrade our own mental health and lower our own quality of life. And I'd rather do other things personally. I know there's a lot of folks right now who are saying, oh gosh, what do we do? What do I do? What can I do? Sadly, but realistically, nothing. Okay, I live in Central Virginia. I served in the military and I was in Iraq, but I'm no longer a soldier. There's nothing I can do. I can pray, and I have been for this situation. But if I have seen this destroy people's lives, folks who will get caught up in worrying about things that are entirely out of their control, of which they can do nothing, and you stand the chance of becoming depressed, agoraphobic, antisocial, mean, bitter, curmudgeon-y, just somebody nobody wants to be around, when something you can do is separate yourself from the situation and go outside and play. I mean, you're never too old for it, especially if it's getting warm where you are. So you can see I'm wearing shirt sleeves, even though I've been working over in the Hillbilly garden most of the day. I did the potatoes, not most of the day, but I had to run to, Tractor Supply and get a bunch of supplies, not a tractor, just supplies. Why don't they call that place like Seeds and Suppliers? I don't know, whatever. I got seeds though, but I planted a new apple tree. I got baby chicks. And by the way, if you enjoyed that little 2-minute clip of the potatoes and you want to follow along with what I'm doing with the Hillbilly garden this year, or even find out what it's all about anyway, just click on down below this video on the left where it says Homesteading Off the Grid. Click on that and that'll take you to like either our home or about page or whatever, and you're going to see a tab that says playlists. Click on that. I recently just created a playlist for these hillbilly gardening videos, but I'm not growing the potatoes or the vegetables or the fruit or having the chickens again this year and hoping that him, her, it, or they, or whatever may or may not be out here doesn't eat them when I'm not looking. For the food. I mean, that is like one small benefit. And so many of you watching these videos garden, even if it's small, on small scale level, even if it's container gardening on your balcony, and even if it's just herbs in your windowsill. You know that eating the final product, I hate to call it a product because it's so much more than that, the process that goes into it, that's like maybe 5% of the actual enjoyment and the health benefits and all that. That's all wonderful. But the biggest benefit, as I see it, is just the dirt therapy. I mean, while I was out here after I got back from Tractor Supply, not sponsored, by the way. They're just good people around here at the local Tractor Supply, so I like to go there. I don't know, 3 hours. I've been spending outside dealing with the chickens, planting stuff, filling, that broken entertainment center with soil and cutting the potatoes, planting the tree, all this stuff. During that time, I didn't, maybe once or twice it crossed my mind about what's going on, and I'm not downplaying the importance of what's going on, or certainly the significance or the hardship or the suffering being experienced by the people involved over there. Not at all. And most of you are emotionally intelligent enough to know that. Some really smart people intellectually who aren't very smart emotionally. But I know that you're emotionally smart enough to know I'm not making light of the situation over there. I'm just saying, in the very long roundabout way, is I know there's nothing realistically and effectively that I can do in regard to that situation. And I know there's been enough times in the past in my life where I had worried about situations over which I had no control, and in which I was not directly involved anyway, and it led to depression, agoraphobia, becoming mean, antisocial, nasty, somebody didn't want to be around, because I was so angry. I was filled with all this inner turmoil over something that was going on somewhere else, didn't even affect me, and over which I had no control. As terrible as the thing was, and not making light of what those things were, I only hurt myself by staying glued to, back in those days, I did watch cable and I did watch news. I watched too much of it. And it would ruin my day first thing in the morning, because I would watch it when I was having my coffee. It would make my day worse anytime I checked back in with it later throughout the day. Nothing good came of it. Now, I know that during the day, because throughout my whole life I've always been active. When I went out for my midday run back in those days, I actually did run in the middle of the day back then, because I had a full bathroom in my office, and I would run during my lunch hour, take a shower, get back into my suit, and go back to work. That was the best hour of my day, because when I was running, when I was outside, feeling good, getting the endorphins, breathing the fresh, clean air, getting the heart rate up, getting a good, clean sweat going, I wasn't worrying about whatever it was I'd been worrying about, of which I had no control and which didn't affect me anyway. It just took me a while to make those connections, like, gee, the more of the good, healthy, focusing on my life and what I can do today to keep my quality of life high and my sanity level, well, jury's still out on that, but you know what I'm saying, versus staying glued to the news, glued to the phone here in modern times, and getting upset and bent out of shape about things I couldn't control. Now, should food prices go up, which is certainly possible, and mind you, I'm not making any predictions. Number one, I don't have a crystal ball. Number two, these things can go any way, or any which way you couldn't even imagine. And number three, there's going to be enough misinformation on the internet. I don't want to add to that problem. But what I will tell you, let's say, should food prices spike, if you're growing your own stuff, that's going to be just a benefit. Let's say gas prices spike. Well, if you're saving $20 a week on groceries, I mean, that's $80 a month. That's how much gas will that, buy for you? Well, the same amount as me, I guess. Well, no, not if you live in California or Washington State. My gosh, I remember living on the West Coast paying $4 a gallon 15 years ago. It's like, well, whatever. I think I made my point. I need to get out of here. Go play in the dirt. Turn off your television. Kill your television. See you for more next time.